Hey, RetconRaider here. Today's video is dedicated to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible. With special thanks to Revenant, Alois, Anerdinwarpaint, Dragon Matrix 7, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, Kazorm, Lima, Nathan Welch Jr., Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, let's get started. And welcome back to Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, as we wind down from the horrors of the Leper's Smile. Bit of a talky episode today. We'll chat with a few familiar faces and one new one. And then after that, we'll continue our march towards Dresden. The quartermaster flashes you his usual grin, but it fades almost immediately. What a march, hey, Commander? I won't forget it, not in a million years. I can't stop shaking whenever I think about Leper's Smile. It's a miracle that we lost so few back there. The soldiers realized that if you'd made the wrong decision, half the army wouldn't have made it out. They're scared. They're scared things are only going to get nastier from here. What if we held a wake, lit up the bonfires, poured some wine, raised our cups in memory of the fallen? It'd do the troops a world of good. Yeah, I feel like that would be in character for Vex. Certainly more so than proposing prayer or excessive discipline. Sounds like a plan, Will. Pass some booze around, ease their nerves. Just, don't get them completely smashed. We are in enemy territory. Never, Commander. Everything will be proper, solemn, and with due respect for the fallen. We're mourning the dead, not celebrating a wedding. Very nice. Oh wow, yeah, that boosted our morale by 10 points, put it all the way up to max. That is quite a swing. Hey, Regill. How's my favorite half-pint Hell Knight? Regill stands with his hands behind his back. His favorite pose, it would seem. He seems submerged in thought, but gathers himself immediately as you approach. His pale yellow eyes examine you inquisitively. Knight Commander, it is good you found time to meet me. There's a matter of some urgency I must discuss with you. It was incredibly interesting, the power you and your companions received during the fight at the Grey Garrison. And now my interest has been gratified. The power your companions received has passed on to me as well. It manifested after my usual evening reckoning. I believe I now present a true threat to the creatures and initiates of chaos. The imprisoned cultist we kept for certain observations experienced this firsthand. Regill's voice is unemotional, almost bored, but leaves no doubt as to the cultist's fate. Striking, isn't it? Divine intervention at a critical moment is rare, but not beyond imagining. But in this case, part of the power that you received through this intervention has passed to someone who joined you well after the fateful moment had passed. I don't know, Regill. I feel like you might be overthinking this. Maybe it really was just a fluke, a stroke of luck. Or, we're 5 Crusades deep. Maybe we were just due a genuine miracle. Miracles do not exist, Regill replies sternly. In the end, every so-called miracle turns out to be a manifestation of someone's will. Besides, I might have believed in a blind accident, but not in the accidental acquisition of great power in the exact moment when it was needed most. In any case, this is shallow philosophizing. You must have some questions for me. Yeah, I feel like I should make a token effort to get to know you. Of course. So what brought you out here? You're a ways off from Cheliax. The demonic threat, of course. and the glaring inefficiency of the local command. I do not know if you are aware of this, but the Hell Knights owe their existence to the Demon Lords, to a certain extent. Our First Order appeared in response to Sifkesh's cultists in Cheliax. The chaos they wrought could not fail to breed strict opposition. Those first Hell Knights were able to burn out the pestilence and crush the cult, once and for all. I see no reason for the Hell Knights of today not to do the same to the tentacles the world wound is spreading. Without question, the task is far more difficult than anything we've encountered before, but it must be done to preserve world order. All the more so given that Queen Galfrey and her commanders are apparently not up to the task. Well, you certainly sound invested. So that's it? You're just here because Galfrey's not doing it right? Impersonality is a fine quality for a Hell Knight, and for the rest of the world as well. Personal motives, strong emotions. They are weaknesses that your enemies will use against you. I am an effective officer with years of service. The demonic invasion of Golarion obviously demands the most qualified response. That is why I am here. It's simple. Can't help but notice you don't seem to think much of the Queen. If my memory doesn't fail me, the current crusade is called the Fifth Crusade. And with all of the support of the Church of Iomedae and multiple other allies provided to Galfrey, no progress has been made in resolving the crisis at the World Wound. The best they could manage was to create a chain of wardstones, and even they turned out to be inadequate. I suppose that should be reason enough for my skepticism. Fair enough. Hey, I gotta ask, you're looking pretty, pale there. Is that the bleaching? Of course it's the bleaching. Regill shrugs indifferently. So, are you gonna do anything about that, or... What do other races do to fight the old age? Regill allows himself a brief smile. I know what made you ask this question. My kin have earned a certain reputation for their vain attempts to stave off the inevitable. Luckily for the rest of the world, not all gnomes are prepared to spread chaos with their reckless escapades. There are some among us who accept the natural order of things. The bleaching has no effect on my ability to carry out my duties, and therefore it has no, how should I put it, personal meaning for me. Okay. Does anything have a personal meaning to you? I mean, you've got to have family, right? Or friends? I have never wondered at the fate of the former, and never had interest in the latter. If you'll allow me one piece of advice, Commander, never put too much stock in so-called friendship or camaraderie. Any bonds based on simple affection are temporary and unreliable. Half of your smiling companions certainly consider you their friend for the present, but they will break and betray you the moment you do anything that troubles their happy expectations. Place greater value on respect based on a rational evaluation of your companion's merits. I deeply respected my mentor, who trained me to join the ranks of the Hell Knights. I respected her so much that I killed her with my own hands when I discovered that she'd betrayed the Order's ideals and was intending to leave our ranks. It would have been more proper to inform the command and await the formal trial. But, on the other hand, that would have injured the morale of our young recruits. They should not see the manifestation of weakness in our seasoned knights. Regill cringes. Oh boy, okay. Regill, you've already expressed disdain at the Queen and her commanders. You realize I'm one of her commanders now, right? Do not misread my behavior as distrust of you, personally. Like every Hell Knight, I watch everyone closely, searching for signs of weakness and sin. Everyone, including myself. Regill speaks the last word pointedly. Indeed, Regill Derenge is first on my list of suspects. I observe him daily, marking every fault, every hesitation, every weakness, and I prepare the proper punishment. So it has been, and will be. As for why I joined you, I suppose we may be useful to each other. You and your army are a new power in the Crusade. I rate all the old powers as quite ineffective. I have yet to rate your own efforts, but early indications are positive. That means you may count on my help. For now. Sure. And what exactly happens if, that rating starts to slip? I will inform you of this, as well as any measures I intend to take. Be aware that I treat my allies more strictly than my enemies. This is a sign of respect. Oh, and I guess he's done. I am starting to get the very distinct impression we might have to kill Regill at some point. Regill's pale yellow eyes freeze in an expression of polite attention. Knight Commander, you have more questions? Yeah, we weren't quite done. I was going to ask about the Hell Knights. I could tell you a great deal. However, the Order's recruiters would be a better source of information on such matters. Sure, right, but I gotta ask, how do you normally recruit people? It's not usually by getting your allies killed and strong-arming the survivors into your ranks, right? We accept as armatures any we find worthy. But for the main test, the one that separates the strong from the weak, they must face down a devil summoned directly from hell. If they defeat the beast honestly, the armiger becomes a rightful Hell Knight. If they lose, we simply forget their existence, like the world made an unfortunate mistake. Well, that's not horrifying. And who do you guys answer to? Only to the heads of our orders. In my case, it's Lictor Resarch Untor, head of the Order of the Godclaw. As a rule, the Hell Knights do not submit to the jurisdiction of any state. The same is true of local laws. We are happy to help local governments bring order, if we consider their requests lawful, and if those who ask are worthy. But we do not serve them, and have every right to refuse their demands. So no one's paying you to do this? Then why are you doing it? The law, and only the law. Right, but you just said you don't consider yourselves bound by a country's laws. We cannot call it a law just because some foolish local prince thought it up, or a council of demented elders deems it wise. Now can we? You see, one of the main principles of our brotherhood is that no one is immune from prosecution. A lawful ruler may be a criminal that poses a threat to society. We must be able to punish them as well. Okay, so you pick and choose which laws you want to follow. Cool, me too. This is why Hell Knights only honor the measure and the chain, the doctrine shared by all our orders, and why Hell Knights serve only their officers in the aim of transforming this chaos-torn world and leading it to a brilliant and ordered future. We are the main bastion of order in Golarion, no matter how much some naysayers try to refute it. Yeah, I think I've heard enough. Thanks. Expanding one's knowledge is a good deed, provided, of course, that this knowledge is useful. Ask if you have any further questions. What's your strategy out here, aside from just letting me do all the work? A spark flashes in Regill's eyes. I have a clear idea of the forces I shall require to wage effective war against the World Wound. Currently, I do not possess them, but I know what steps I must take. We must amass and fortify, gather scouting information, resolve certain problems of an organizational nature. Once the problem of Dresden is solved, I shall direct some of my knights to prepare an outpost for the party. We have already scouted a suitable location, the ruins of an old shrine, which still holds the remnants of an ancient power and is thus a lure for demons. An excellent foothold for honing our skills and studying the enemy. That is my next goal. Got it. So you are just waiting for me to do all the work and retake Dresden. Alright, fair enough. I am pretty great. That was fun. You know, I don't think we ever actually talked to Regill back during the beta. I vaguely remember skipping it because we were running short on time and we weren't using him anyway, since he was completely incompatible with Creed. Not to say, of course, that he's all that compatible with Vex either, but Vex is more of an amoral opportunist. That aside, I am genuinely curious to see if it ever does get to the point where Regill legitimately turns on us because we finally outlived our usefulness. As mentioned last time, we are headed for the Inconspicuous Camp. Another chunk of content I believe we skipped back in the beta. But before we do that, let's go ahead and consolidate our forces. And I see we've got new recruits available. Oh, hey, look at that. We actually did get a stack of 30 mounted scouts. Wow. So that conversation we had with Wilcer actually did have a tangible benefit. One sec, let me do some spot recruiting and rearrange our forces. And we're back. The new recruits were enough to bump our main army up to rank 6, so we're in pretty good shape for the last stretch of map before Dresden. But we will worry about all that stuff next time. For now, it's time to get a little campy. Inconspicuous Camp. Not far from the canyon walls and the Whirlwound, among the forests, an inconspicuous camp is hidden, well protected from the prying eyes of both demons and crusaders alike. You can only find it if you know exactly where to look. Okay, I believe this is a safe zone, so we won't worry about buffs, but we will do a quick perimeter check, just to see if there's anything of note aside from the guy who invited us here. Which would appear to be that guy, Crinukh. Don't mind us, we'll be right with you. Oh my goodness, a Wand of Mass Dimension Door. Yes, I think we can find some uses for that, thank you. I think that's it, so let's go have a chat with our mysterious host. Pre-Earthfall notes and a powerful escape wand hidden nearby. We're off to an interesting start with this guy. The aged kobold sitting by the small campfire greets you with an amicable gesture. He doesn't reach for his weapon or hiss threateningly. All in all, his behavior is highly unusual for one of his kind. His clothes look quite unusual too. Not many kobolds opt for human clothing, nor do they adorn their possessions with spikes or scales. Greetings. My name is Crinukh. I'm all alone here, so you may safely come closer. He speaks smoothly, without the usual kobold hissing. Moving slightly aside, the kobold points to the carcass of a small animal on a stick roasting over the fire. Dinner will be ready soon. Whoa, I've never met a talking lizard before. Well, back in the River City we had a real dragon. Are you a dragon too? Can you turn big? You flatter me, young lady. Many of my fellows would give up everything to become dragons. Some even entertain themselves with fantasies of already being such. But I'm proud to be what I am. A kobold. Nothing more, nothing less. Kobolds are a rather courteous lot, it would seem. I never expected to receive an invitation to dinner from one of your kind. As a guest, rather than a dish, that is. I didn't exactly invite you, Count. My invitation was addressed to the commander. But sit down, help yourself. Beyond the walls of your fancy mansions, you'll find surprises far more unusual than my humble self. Yeah, sorry to break this up, but who are you? As I've already mentioned, my name is Crinukh, at your service. The kobold offers a short bow, an unusual gesture for one of his kind to make. As a rule, kobolds do not express their respect to anyone other than dragons. I am a traveler and a friend to the Crusade. I can be your friend too, if you are tolerant toward kobolds. Crinukh utters the word tolerant with shocking ease, as if he is something other than the narrow-minded and savage subterranean beast you expect him to be. Kobolds are famous for worshipping dragons and despising all other races, and few of them would even understand the concept of tolerance, let alone subscribe to it. I'm sorry, I'm just having a really hard time wrapping my head around this. You are supposed to be a kobold, right? Ah, so you saw through my disguise. Crinukh tried to mislead you with sweet words and then ambushed you. The kobold utters a loud hiss, which then morphs into an amused chuckle. Of course I'm a kobold. Trust me, you are not the first to be shocked after hearing me speak, and realizing that I'm not going to rob or kill you. I'm lucky. If representatives of other races want to be seen as intellectuals or decent conversationalists, they have to read a lot of books, refine their manners, possess a passing knowledge of classical theater, and douse themselves in fine perfume. Whereas in my case, all I have to do is not lunge at you with a spear, or hiss every other word. Okay, and you're the one who left me that note? The kobold shrugs. Of course. Who else could it be? I wanted to make sure you were interested in the information I can provide. All right, sure, I'll play along. So what's on the fire? Judging by its ears and hind legs, it's a hare. The kobold casts a dubious glance at the animal's mouth, which boasts a huge set of teeth. Or maybe it's a tiger. Depends on your point of view, I suppose. Sure, it's all about perspective, I suppose. And, what exactly do you want with me? I want nothing from you. I am asking for nothing. I am simply offering help. I sympathize with your cause, so I would like to provide whatever support I can, from time to time. Does that work for you? The kobold stops and looks at you expectantly. Yeah, maybe. How exactly do you think you can help? With advice, mostly. Throughout my life, I've seen a lot, and a piece of timely advice can be extremely valuable. Don't you agree? Of course, if your advisor is a kobold, the merits are not so obvious. But you're in luck. This kobold right here has extensive knowledge of a variety of matters that you may find useful someday. After some thought, he nods toward the campfire. One more thing I have to offer is this hare, after it's cooked. Okay, but you're a kobold. How could you possibly know all that much about demons? Crinukh gives you a long and heavy look. I've had some experience with them. I don't want to go into the details right now. All I'm saying is that after a rather short, and not even hostile, encounter with them, I stopped eating meat for several years. Alright, look, let's cut to the chase here. What's the catch? No catch. I'm acting for wholly altruistic reasons, but my motives are something I would rather not reveal. Crinukh turns his face to you, and his wrinkles become more visible in the glow of the fire. We just met 5 minutes ago. Don't you think it's too early to expect complete candor just yet? As I have already told you, I am a friend of the Crusade. You can choose to trust me, or you can leave. I feel like there are other options, but let's not go there just yet. I offer help and ask for nothing in return. So the question is simple. Will you accept the claw of friendship from a stranger? Or is your distrust stronger than your need for help? Oh look, there's another option. Now, I don't think Vex would trust Crinukh, but I also don't think he would kill him. Not yet, anyway. Not until he's done something to actually deserve it. And of course, Vex isn't just going to walk away from a potential advantage, so... Tell you what, Crinukh, why don't you share what you've got, and we'll just work from there. Crinukh nods agreeably. Then we have a deal. You won't regret your decision. Just drop by my camp every now and then, so we can have a word. Perhaps I'll be able to give you some useful tips. Pulling out a small knife, the traveler carefully cuts off 2 strips of meat from the roasted hare. He throws one into his toothy maw, while graciously offering the other to you. A strange animal for sure, but it seems edible. The energies of the world won't mask everything in illusion. Harmless-looking animals try to eat you for dinner. Dangerous paths appear to be straight roads. And your enemies. Sometimes your enemies can look like your friends. Crinukh squints and looks deeply into your eyes. Have you ever been in a situation like this? First, you think a person is your friend and ally, but then the scales fall from your eyes and you realize they are actually your sworn enemy. So you catch this person, you tie them up, and then you start thinking, how should you treat them now? Like your enemy? Like your former friend? It's hard to decide. What would you do if one of your friends turned out to be a traitor? I don't suppose you're talking about anyone in particular. Wow, your question reeks of paranoia. No, I'm not talking about anyone specific, and I'm not implicating anyone. The kobold chuckles. I'm sorry, it seems my joke has spoiled your sleep for the next few nights. Yeah, that is hilarious. Okay, well, to answer your question then, if someone did pose as a friend and then betrayed me, I would do whatever it took to find out what they were trying to do and who they really worked for. So, you might just want to keep that in mind for potential future reference. The kobold grins. What if you have to threaten them with the death of their family? Or what if you have to grant mercy to someone truly despicable? You don't have to answer. I can tell by your eyes that you're willing to do whatever it takes. And that is correct. If you catch a villain, don't rush to put a noose around their neck. First learn everything they have to tell you. As for principles and morality, you better stuff them in your deepest pocket, and don't bandy them about without good reason. I liked your answer. You obviously think with your head, and don't just parrot the instructions of others. Then again, if we're discussing traitors, it's fortunate that betrayal is not reserved for mortals alone. Demons stab each other in the back far more frequently. The rumor is that there are at least 2 demon stashes within Dresden, filled with arms and supplies that were stolen by Deskarites from Baphamites, and vice versa. One of them is near the entrance to the fortress, while another lies by the entrance to the citadel. Oh yeah? And where exactly did you hear that? Gossip, hearsay, the world is an ocean of chatter, and I am quite a skilled fisherman. Okay, well, that might actually come in handy, assuming it's actually true. Of course it is. I wouldn't waste your time. Cracking his knuckles, Crinukh gives you an inquisitive look. I hope that when the time comes for you to make real decisions instead of hypothetical ones, your wisdom won't fail you. Just one bad choice can turn a revered leader into a disgraced pariah. I've seen it happen before. I lived through something like that. My tribe suffered a disaster caused by just one bad choice. Can you even imagine? The kobold squints sadly, his shoulders slumping a bit. With a sigh, he begins to talk. I don't like telling this story, but it might be useful for you to know it. Perhaps it will serve as warning. Sure, why not? I still don't trust you, but you certainly got my attention. Crinukh clears his throat and starts talking in a sonorous voice that reveals his experience as a bard. I was born into the mighty and proud tribe of the Night Ruby. Our caves were vast, our mine shafts were rich in quartz and metals, and our underground lakes were brimming with fish. And, of course, we had plenty of slaves. The Night Ruby was a model of Kobold success. It was a tight-knit, greedy, and aggressive tribe that intimidated even a few of the nearby human settlements. But there was a flaw underlying our power. Once, long ago, a leader of our tribe signed a pact with devils, promising them the soul of every tribe member in exchange for help and prosperity. Since then, every new All-Watcher had to agree to the pact, and the power of the tribe grew, as did the number of lost souls. It was like that until our leader, Ermac, came to power. She was a principled and proud elder who didn't want to bend the knee to hell. So she refused to sign the pact, and all kinds of calamities befell our tribe. The tribe was attacked by its neighbors at the devil's instigation. Epidemics broke out. Then our slaves rebelled. They came after their former masters in the dead of night. Our clutches of eggs were ravaged, our altars were desecrated, and our warriors were slain in their burrows. The slaves paid us in full for our cruelty and arrogance. They hunted us, chased us down through the caves and mine shafts, level by level. When we were finally left alone, we had no idea where we were. All we saw around us was darkness, and lurking in that darkness were bloodthirsty and dangerous predators. After raising his voice dramatically, Crinukh suddenly stops. Then he adds with a teasing smile, I think this moment is enough of a cliffhanger to stop here. Cute. You know, Crinukh, I do actually like you, but, you are incredibly suspicious. Here we go. I come in friendship, and right away I'm distrusted. So, what is it that's got you worried? Just the way you talk, man. You, keep leaving out these giant chunks of context and information. What can I say? I'm a kobold of many secrets and contradictions. I keep my mouth shut, and the rest of the world at arm's length. That's just my nature. I can't help it. Fair enough, buddy, but just remember what I said earlier. Well, that's good. I was starting to worry. I could almost hear the noose swinging on the gallows already. I don't want to be the first kobold in history to be executed for crimes I didn't commit. Day's still young. Mind if I ask some questions about you? I'm flattered, but what's so special about me? I've never accomplished any feats on the battlefield. I don't know any special crafts, and I don't even belong to an exotic species. I don't have the slightest idea what you find so interesting about me. Well, I mean, what do you do when you're not just sitting out in the woods, spinning cryptic tales for passers-by? I'm a traveling bard, and I can already foresee your next question. How does a bard, who also happens to be a kobold, manage to earn a living? All the civilized races of Avestan know that when you encounter a kobold, the best course of action is to smash its skull, trample it with a horse, then burn the remains just in case. Well, the prejudice that civilized peoples have regarding my kind is quite understandable. Our infamy as robbers and murderers is more than deserved. So just imagine the spectacle in any tavern when an articulate kobold in decent clothes shows up, offering to share a story or two for a few coins and a mug of ale. I assure you, no matter how big a deal you are here, if we drop by any tavern in Andoran, all eyes will be on me. I am an exotic oddity. Yeah, that actually brings up another question. If you're so popular in taverns, then why are you here? I just don't like it when the residents of the lower planes get involved in the lives of mortals. I firmly believe that we don't need any advisors to help us handle our own affairs. And we need overlords even less. Uh-huh. And you're still claiming to be a kobold, right? That's what you're sticking with? So, you are expecting this stupid kobold to praise dragons and boast about his exploits? Crinukh grins mischievously. My life has given me many opportunities to communicate with beings from other races, so I found a common language with them. So I see. Okay, I guess that's all my questions. That's good, because I am starting to run out of answers. You mind if I pick your brain about demons? I mean, you did say you know a bunch about them, right? My humble knowledge is at your disposal. Great, let's start with weaknesses. It's a fact that they are hostages to their own nature, and by their nature, demons are just a bunch of mad apes, a grotesque parody of ordinary chaos. You don't need to make a bunch of apes angry. You just give one of them a banana and arm the other with a stick. They'll kill each other without your direct intervention. So, turn them against each other. Pretty basic. Ever heard of a demon that can cause wounds that open and close over and over again? Do I need to resort to such platitudes as the weirdest tricks can be expected from demons? Or can I just skip that part? I've never heard anything like what you're describing, but new sorts of nasty stuff appear in the world wound every day. However, if we think about it some more, don't you think that this wound doesn't cause enough trouble to be something that the demons did to you on purpose? When you're hit by the magic of the abyss, you know instantly that death is coming your way, and fast. Right. So, how'd you say you learned about all this again? And now he's repeating himself. Yeah, I think we're pretty much done. Well, thanks, Crinukh. I think that's everything I needed. That's a bold statement. And I believe this one just brings up the story about his tribe again. Yeah. I think he feeds you a new piece of that story with each new act. So it all must be building up to something. So Crinukh, tell me, have you heard anything about my incredible abilities? I've heard you're either extremely lucky or quite the opposite. You survived the massacre in Canabris just to spearhead a new suicide mission. On the other hand, you survived then, and most likely you will survive now. Good luck on this noble endeavor. Well, thanks. I appreciate your entirely sincere and not at all sarcastic well-wishing. I'll, see you around, Crinukh. Good luck. I believe you'll need it. Well, that was fascinating. Not quite sure what to make of it, but he will be drip-feeding us additional information and cryptic clues after each major story event. I've just never actually seen how it all ends up playing out. I suppose the most obvious explanation would be that he's a shape-shifted dragon, much as Ember suggested. Though that might be too predictable. And then, of course, the other likely possibility is that he's an agent of one of the gods. But a chaotic one, because he did profess a preference for our chaotic responses. Regardless, I think we're done here, so we'll head out for now. But we'll swing by every so often just to see what else he has to say. I very much enjoyed that. Anyway, we're running a little long. I don't think we've actually got time for another location, but let's bring our party right up to Heaven's Edge. That way we can jump into it next time. Oh, and I guess we'll do this. We're actually really close to level 8.
Yet another obstacle.
3 succubi. They are officially taking off the kid gloves. The one on the left looks different. Ah. The odds aren't in our favor on that, but they're not too far-fetched.
Cover me, all right?
Oh, nice. Two down, 3 to go. Huh.
Out of my sight!
I wonder why they're not trying to charm us.
You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
Fall back. Weird.
Stab you or zap you? Why not both?
I mean, look, we were going to win that fight either way, but I'm surprised they didn't come out the starting gate with their strongest power. Alright, well, moving on. We'll hold right there. We'll want to rest before we go in there anyway. And let's bring the army up. Oh, nice. I wasn't sure we'd make it. Ghouls are easily our biggest threat here. Let's nuke them. Yep, that works. And we'll just whittle these guys down on approach. I am trying to conserve spell points where possible, because we've got a lot of Crusade battles ahead of us. Moving up. Fighters first. Oh, shoot, I did not realize they could do that. Alright, we gotta take them out. The cultists protected their caravan of valuable supplies to the death, but the Crusaders prevailed. It seems that the demon worshippers plundered the treasures from nearby Sarkorian ruins. Well, that was very considerate of them, because it saves us the trouble of doing it ourselves. Okay. Army's out of movement points, and half our party's fatigued, so let's get some rest, and I think we're at a good stopping point.
Regill, have you ever seen a real devil? What did he look like?
A weakling that folded after the first hit.
And again, I forgot to assign guards, but we're fine. Alright, folks. I think we'll hit the pause button for now, but we will pick up here next time, as we start clearing out this big cluster of new optional encounters. Starting, I think, with Heaven's Edge. If we're traveling with Darren, we might as well find out what his deal is, because goodness knows he'll never tell us himself. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, the official social media feeds, or the official store pages. And if you'd like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things, or maybe even check out the Patreon. Links are in the description.